Megumi promises to exorcise Yuji as though he were under a curse. But Yuji lifts his arms to show that he's in charge and doesn't mean any harm. Megumi is unsure if the curse is attempting to deceive him when he claims that they both need to hurry to a hospital. Megumi's sensei, Satoru Gojo, shows up before he is forced to make a choice. Gojo explains to Megumi why the elders were so upset over the cursed artifact when the latter is taken aback by his teacher's appearance. He made a pit stop for mementos before returning to see how Megumi was doing. Gojo finds it difficult to believe Yuji when he claims to have eaten the finger. He attentively analyzes Yuji and discovers that he is actually fused with Sukuna. Gojo chooses to use a 10-second switch with Sukuna to put Yuji's control to the test. Gojo will engage in combat throughout that period as Megumi maintains his Kikufuku, a Sendai specialty. Megumi is shocked by his teacher's negligence, and Yuji lets Sukuna take over. Even though the curse attacks first, Gojo is quickly able to avoid all of Sukuna's blows. Gojo decides to go all out by attacking Sukuna with many strange attacks, while his student is on the sidelines. Sukuna attempts to end the conflict by asserting that Jujutsu sorcerers are a problem in every era. Rather, Gojo is able to easily resist the debris that the curse has produced and counts down the final few seconds before Yuji regains control. Unexpectedly, Yuji is able to restore control of his body with ease. Gojo makes the decision to put him to sleep and tells Megumi that if Yuji can resurrect as himself, he will have genuine potential as a vessel. Megumi begs his teacher to prevent Yuji from being executed, even though he should be under Jujutsu law. Gojo assures Yuji that he will carry out her request and updates her later. Gojo explains that the Jujutsu elders made the decision to have Yuji put to death, while he is strapped to the chair inside the room packed with seals. Gojo's sentence was suspended when he was able to argue for Yuji. Should Yuji consume all 20 of his fingers, he has the capacity to serve as a vessel for Sukuna and thus be utilized to absorb the curse. Gojo persuaded them to hold off on killing Yuji until he had consumed every finger, since doing so would be advantageous to Jujutsu Tech. Itadori then pays Sasaki and Iguchi a visit in the hospital. As they both stand by Iguchi's bed, Sasaki accuses herself of being to blame for the occurrence. Iguchi hasn't come to, despite the fact that the doctors think his condition is stable. Yuji exposes the truth of the circumstance and assigns himself the responsibility. He promises Sasaki that a sorcerer would stop by to treat Iguchi before departing. Gojo and Yuji meet up outside the hospital to talk about his choice. When the guy inquires about the number of deaths caused by curses, Gojo responds that those who experience a curse are fortunate to pass away in a peaceful manner. They proceed to the mortuary, where Yuji decides to swallow the second finger entire after gathering his grandfather's ashes. While Yuji fights with what seems to be Sukuna's influence, Gojo waits for the chain reaction. The Jujutsu world hasn't seen Yuji control Sukuna in 1,000 years, but he is merely dealing with the repulsiveness of consuming the finger, and demonstrates, without a shadow of a doubt, that he is gifted enough to be able to do so. Despite his desire to avoid being put to death, Yuji believes he must battle curses and assist in assimilating all of Sukuna's fingers. Gojo instructs Yuji to go after hearing his choice. Megumi responds to Yuji's question about their destination when he enters the room after receiving medical attention for his wounds. Yuji and Gojo depart to Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu Technical School in the Tokyo Highlands after bidding farewell to Yuji's grandfather. Jujutsu Tech, one of only 2 jujutsu facilities in the nation, poses as a private religious school. In actuality, it serves as a cornerstone of the jujutsu community, and serves as the headquarters for all jujutsu sorcerers, even after they graduate. Yuji must interview with the principal before being admitted to the school. The principal has the ultimate say and has the authority to demand Yuji's immediate death. Sukuna makes a mouth on Yuji's skin and threatens to kill Gojo right away. After taking control of Yuji Senshi, miffed that Gojo isn't in charge. Gojo acknowledges the accolade and describes Sukuna's history. Gojo is self-assured enough to claim himself when the question of who is stronger between them is posed. When they get to the principal's office, Masamichi Yaga is there making adorable puppets. Yaga asks Yuji why he wants to enroll at Jujutsu Tech after he introduces himself. Although Yuji says he wants to practice jujutsu in response, the principal is really asking a deeper question. As a dying desire from someone else, Yuji claims he wants to assist people. Unhappy, Yaga asserts that Yuji fails since he would only be battling for someone else's goals. Principal Yaga attacks Yuji with one of his dolls and his cursed corpse, until he receives a satisfactory response. Yaga describes the drawbacks of the profession and asserts that sorcerers need to be driven and a little mad. It's not something that can be accomplished merely because another person urged them to. Yaga queries whether Yuji will also blame his grandfather for his own death by curse. As the dolls launch a second round of assaults, he does this to assist Yuji understand more about himself. Yaga queries Yuji once more over his goals for Jujutsu Tech. Knowing that the only person who can stop Sukuna is Yuji, he takes the doll and holds it in place with his raw power. Yuji argues that if he wants to live without regrets, he must stop Sukuna while still holding on. Yuji's response impressed Yaga, who invites the student to enroll and asks Gojo to take him around the campus. Gojo asks Yuji whether he's ready to fight after bringing him to his dorm. Yuji can serve as a vessel and a finder for the other fingers with Sukuna inside him. Megumi, who will be living next door, is sad that Yuji will be so nearby after they leave the dorm. Gojo informs that the following day, he will be driving them both to Morioka Station. They will pick up Nobaraku Jisaki, a young woman eager to leave her rural hometown behind her. She is the third first-year student to be picked up.